Welcome to a Sea Object podcast. I don't know how to say it.
Say it.
Up.
Good job.
This is the Sea Average Podcast.
Welcome to the Sea Average podcast.
Welcome to the Sea Average Podcast.
More like the world's okayest podcast.
What's up, everybody? Sea Average Podcast, episode 77, I believe. Today we got myself, Chris Webb, Tyler Thomas, Kevin. Thanks for waking up and joining us today. Appreciate that time. Mikey Scheid's not here, but we do have another special guest. She is a firefighter by day and a badass motorcycle racer by night. She's from you're from Central Ohio. Live in Cincinnati now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been in Cincinnati since I was like 18.
Gotcha. Everybody, please welcome Natasha Simmons.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
So, like you said, you've been down to Cincinnati since you're 18. Are you a Bengals fan?
Oh man, I'm not a big football fan in general,
All right.
but
No, I'm just kidding.
wait for it. No, I mean, since I work for the city of Cincinnati, I support them in spirit all the time. If I had to pick a football team, it'd definitely be the Bengals, and I was excited that they went to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that's a
There we
start.
go.
I had to
They're
work
going
that day, but
They're going back. They'll be there again this year.
I hope so.
I mean, this episode's not going to be out till after the game, so we'll see. But if not, I mean,
Hey, we got
we
high
won.
hopes.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
they got a good chance.
All I do for sure.
Better good as anybody.
Yeah. So let's get to this. What exactly? Because I was looking on your races and stuff like that. Are you amateur still? Or are you professional?
Amateur, definitely.
amateur? Okay.
So professional racing, I guess would be kind of the next step after what I do is club racing.
Yeah.
So that's just the level, I guess, where you still spend a ton of money and you just don't get anything back for it other than cool trophies.
I mean, you got sponsors at least. I mean, that's definitely gotta be nice to just be able to say that.
Do they pay for much, or like what all do they pay for, and how's all that work?
So they have a saying in racing, and that's if you want to become a millionaire racing, start off a billionaire. So that's kind of how it goes. But
Damn.
yeah, so it's not the cheapest hobby. The sponsors definitely help. I've got a shop that supports me with parts and anything I need to order from there.
Nice.
Boot company last year, Forma boots. They were pretty cool. Got a good deal on boots, but unfortunately, I'm still stuck with the cost of a lot of it. So that's kind of a bummer, but they definitely help out a lot, and it'd be really
Yeah.
hard to do it without any sponsorship.
It's one of those really fun, expensive hobbies.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Yeah.
like owning a boat, but you actually get a trophy.
Yeah.
But
like
more
Kevin-
fun.
It's like she bought a boat, but then decided she wanted to race it.
Right. Say Kevin's the only one here with the motorcycle.
How did you get started in it? How did you get the idea that you wanted to race?
Well, I really wish I had a cool story for this, but I kind of don't. I started riding because, well, honestly, I was bored and I was like, man, I need something to do outside. Just, I wanted to get out of the house more, and I thought about getting a dirt bike. And then I was like, well, no, because then I need a truck and I have to, trailer my dirt bike wherever I want to ride. I got to pay to ride. I can't just like wake up and go outside and ride. So I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'll just get a motorcycle. So like 3 days later, I bought a motorcycle. And the guy I was dating at the time, I was like, if you teach me how to ride this thing, then you can ride it whenever you want, which ultimately backfired on me, but he's gone. So
Good. riddance.
and then as far as racing, honestly, I needed some work done on my first motorcycle, and I went to just a shop that somebody had recommended, and they were all racers. And I walked in there and I'm like looking around, and they've got posters on the wall with all their sponsors, and they're like dragging their knee around the track. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's super cool, and I want to do that. So that's really the story. I just thought it looked awesome, and I was really into riding. So I started at a small track, like a go-kart track, with my tiny 250, and just got used to riding on a track, and then started going to big tracks with my big bike. So
Damn, that's fucking awesome. I said, like, I had a go-kart when I was younger. That was about it, as fast as I went. Never, never anything else. But
I get asked that so much, and I really wish I had like a cool, inspiring story or like,
I just
but
said,
I
fuck it.
don't. I just saw it and I was
Start
like,
racing.
wow, this looks really cool.
I
want
wanna
to do
do it.
that.
All
And I
right.
started doing it and I was just obsessed. Like, yeah, I was definitely hooked. From the second I went out on a track, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna blow the rest of the money I earned for the rest of my life on this. So, it's
So
good though. It
doing
motivated me to get my shit together a little bit and get a better job and career
There
to
you go.
fund my expensive hobbies. So
Yeah. At least
It's
you're
still
doing what
cool
you
though. I
love.
mean, you saw something you wanted to do, you tried it, and you stuck with it. I mean, you're still doing it. How many years ago was that?
probably about 7 or 8 years ago that I
Yeah,
first
and
rode on a racetrack.
you're still at it. So I mean, that's something.
Not like
Yep.
so
Yeah, I
yeah,
still have a little ways to go, but before I'm
Oh,
really quick, but it's a start.
I mean, you've made a podium multiple times already on how many races?
So I did, I want to say 13 races or something like that last season. And I only know that from trying to make a resume for sponsorship. But I think I
Oh,
did
yeah.
13 races and I think I podiumed 6 or 7 times, maybe.
All
So
right.
not too bad. So
Yeah.
that's definitely almost half,
Yeah.
maybe a little more. So I'll take it.
What's the
Where-
so go ahead, sorry.
where do you race at? Is that all here in Ohio or like Kentucky, Indiana? Do you travel out of state?
So that's actually one of the things that really sucks about racing is you have to travel a lot and it gets really boring when you're by yourself. So I mean, I ride usually every year. I go down to Florida in the winter to get some seat time in the winter. I'll be doing that in a couple weeks actually. But this year I kind of stuck to my region, which included Michigan, Pittsburgh, and there was a track in Ohio as well. I did go down to Savannah, Georgia, but I didn't end up racing that weekend. Um, but I mean, I've ridden in New Orleans, Atlanta, just kind of all
Nice.
over the place.
That's awesome. I mean,
How do you like?
It's a lot of
how-
miles.
oh, go
what'd you say, Tyler?
Oh, it's a lot of miles to travel though.
ahead.
It gets old.
You don't have like a crew or anything like that with you? You're strictly by yourself?
Pit crew or anything?
So I kind of do. So next year I'm gonna be on an endurance team and we're actually using my bike. So I'll kind of be like the team captain, which is really exciting.
Oh, there you go.
But
Congratulations.
thank you. There are 3 guys that are gonna be riding with me. And we do 4-hour races on one bike. So you each try to ride an hour if you
Damn.
can. There's pit stops, so it adds like a whole different element. I'm used to just doing like what they call sprint races, which is like 8 laps as fast as you can go,
Yeah.
balls to the wall for the whole entire race. Whereas this is like long and calculated. You've
Yeah.
got to be good at working on the bike, putting it together. So that's definitely going to be interesting. But so I'll have those guys with me. And then most of the time I'm by myself, but I've been doing this long enough that I always know somebody when I go to the track. So I'm never like completely alone. I always get
Yeah.
there and I have people to like chill with and friendly faces. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
We had Chris Minot on a couple months ago, and he's the crew chief for Ray Hall Racing. And
He
he's
just
he was.
changed. I don't
Oh,
know
he
where he's
changed.
at.
He's
changed. I forget
somewhere
where
else
he's
now, but
regardless, he was doing that. He was talking about the long haul races like that because I think they did one as well. I think it was like I think
Yeah.
that was like 24 hours or something.
they did
Crazy.
24-hour
Yeah.
races.
Oh, those are nuts.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think my body could handle that. It can barely handle endurance racing as it is. So that'll be interesting, but it'll be something cool to like transition to.
Oh,
What's your fastest lap, I guess, and how far was it? I guess it depends on track, right?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the track. There's like a standard lap time for every track that you kind of try to get. I always keep track of like personal bests, but and it also depends on the bike you're on. If you're on a big bike or a little bike, I kind of have been doing a little bit of both. Well, and as far as like let's say the track I'm probably best at, I did pretty well in Cleveland this year, which is nice because it's only 4 hours away. So, um, I don't know how to quantify lap times for you guys. I mean, I know what my lap time is. It's not the world's most impressive, but I'm happy with it on a 300.
That's all you need.
Have you ever laid your bike down?
Yeah, a couple times.
Well, I mean, when you're going those turns, your knee actually hit the ground. I've always wondered that.
Yeah. So we wear knee sliders, which are little like pucks that we put on our knees. They're actually attached by Velcro, so you can like replace them. And we do drag our knee on the ground. Sometimes an elbow. I have not gotten my elbow down yet though, but people literally get so low to the ground they'll drag their elbow. The fastest people in the world can somehow drag their shoulder, which is ridiculous. I'm not really.
It's like against the
yet.
physics.
Yeah.
No thanks.
You still stay on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll stay upright.
Right.
But yeah, I have crashed. It's kind of part of the racing game. You crash, you put your shit back together again, and then you go out and ride as soon as you get your bike back together. So we pretty much carry around like a trailer full of spare parts. So whenever you crash, you can kind of get your stuff back together and get back out there.
Damn.
So
You've been doing
intense.
a bunch of.
Because I mean, the last thing you want to do, especially if you're kind of like hurt, the last thing you really want to do is like, okay, well, let's do it again and go faster. Right. Because I just missed, a couple sessions, so now I got to go even faster to make up for it. So, or even better, you crash. I didn't crash at all this year, knock on wood, which was extremely fortunate. I've crashed almost every season that I've ridden, but before that, I crashed at a track. It was probably my third lap out on the practice day. So the first day I showed up, I crashed on like the third lap, and then put my bike back together, and then I had to race the next morning. So it was yeah, I mean, stuff like that happens a lot, but it's good. Teaches you a lot mentally.
Well, so you do pretty much all your work on your bike yourself, right?
Yeah.
I've seen all your videos you've been putting on there. So you, I'm guessing YouTube, or how did you learn all of the mechanics of everything? Did you have like a good idea, like growing up, or mechanicalized, I guess, and like body work, and how did you learn all that stuff?
So what's funny is I actually didn't know anything about working on bikes. I mean, I could work with tools. I knew how to use tools and stuff, but I hadn't really worked on anything until I was older, until I started riding. Which actually I think is kind of why I work on all my stuff, because when I first started riding at the track, I would crash and then I'd have like 10 dudes around me like, oh, this is busted and you got to do this to put it back together and this and this and this. And I had no idea. So I just kind of like blindly followed all these people. And then my bike would just be a piece of crap, for the next 10 times I went and rode, because I didn't know any better, and I had like a million people telling me different things. And finally I said, like, if I'm going to do this, I got to figure this out. So, I definitely started doing a lot more myself, but the big push was when they gave me my COVID check. I went out and bought a motorcycle and said, I'm going to turn this into a race bike and I'm going to do it all myself, even though I don't know how, like, where to even begin. I was like, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to do it.
Nice. So
YouTube has been super cool. But now that I've been doing this a little longer and got a lot more experience, YouTube's good, like if you get stuck, but the internet in general is full of really, really bad advice, and a lot of people taking shortcuts and not knowing what the hell they're talking about. So now I use the service manual whenever I can, and just go off of that. Can't really go wrong with manufacturers' recommendations. So I try to stick to that now, or I just look at it until it starts making sense, which sometimes is like 3 days of sitting in the garage for 5 hours staring at something. But in the body work, I learned how to do that because I kept crashing. So instead of going out and buying new body work, somebody was like, you can like repair that, right? So I was like, I guess I'll learn this now.
So there you go.
Except for this year, right?
Yeah.
What's
Hey,
that?
That's good.
I said, except for this year.
Yeah, did I?
Yeah.
Or do you still have some body work you had to do?
Well, I never fixed my body. One of my bikes, I crashed pretty good like 2 years ago, and I never really fixed it. So I've just been working on
Been
that in the
working on it.
meanwhile. And that's the bike that we're gonna ride this year with the team. So I kind of want to get it put together so I at least have something somewhat presentable.
Yeah.
So these races you do, are they specific to size of bike? Like, can you only have like up to so many cc's?
Yeah, so there's different classes, and there's different things you're allowed to do to the bike and you're not. So what's really cool about that, especially being not at the professional level, is that they have a class for people who want to run a stock engine, and you're only allowed to do certain modifications, but you have to keep your engine stock, which is good because as soon as
That's
you
what I was
start
kind of
messing
wondering.
with
'Cause, like,
your,
I don't know if you just go down to, buy a brand new Honda or whatever off the showroom floor and then go race it, or if you do like engine modifications or any of that, which sounds like you don't. So
so you modify just about everything except for the motor. So you
Yeah.
take pretty much, I got my R3 and took everything off of it except the motor, and
Right.
replaced it with lightweight stuff and just, performance parts. But what's cool is like it can be really limiting financially, because as soon as you're allowed to start modifying the motor, that means you're probably rebuilding your motor, at least once a season, if not more.
Man,
I mean, some guys have to rebuild their motor every couple months, every couple
Right.
races. It just depends on what you're doing, which is extremely like cost prohibitive. So it's really cool that this is limited because then, everybody else is on the same bike as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's divided by class. So what I do now is, well, what I did last year was I was on a 300. I did it's basically like 300s and below. And then I also race 400s and below, which is like racing up a class, but it's just a way to get more seat time. But I ended up getting third in that division for the region last year.
Nice.
So you can kind of keep up with the 400s, but
Yeah.
Do you race
How
with, is it men and women that you race against, or are you in strictly women, or how do they
so it's
separate?
actually completely co-ed. That's
Okay.
what's cool about racing is there's really nothing like
Rules or anything like that.
yeah, there's really
Just like
no
NASCAR and shit.
reason a
Yeah.
woman can't ride as fast as
Right.
a guy. There's no like physical limitation. Like you don't have to be super, you don't have to have like a ton of upper body strength to ride or anything like that. It's all just like mental.
Yeah.
I think
And
the
balance.
yeah, well, I don't know that I have any of that in my everyday life, but the yeah, there's really no reason a girl can't go out and do the same thing. It's all just in your head, and I think men are a little more risk takers, which helps them out a lot. But I just think you don't see a lot of women in racing because, well, yeah, it's a little bit it's a little bit nerve-wracking and requires some balls, but
Yeah. Absolutely. That's
I
something
just
don't
think
have.
they don't get into it from like a young age, like boys are out riding bicycles and doing wheelies on their bicycles, whereas like
Well,
I rode my bicycle to my girlfriend's house so we could have like a sleepover, we weren't doing
Mhm.
like wheelie competitions. And then, and my nobody was out pushing me like, hey, you got to go ride a dirt bike, little kid. Like I never
Yeah.
had that kind of motivation. But actually it's funny when girls do get that kind of motivation, they're equally competitive. There's actually one girl right now who's winning races in Moto America, and she was, I think she's 15 now, but I mean, she was winning races when she was younger than that and started racing professionally and raced overseas. And yeah, I mean, she's winning, and it's like I said, it's all co-ed. There's not a women's division, so she's out there smoking dudes, twice her
Nice.
age, which is awesome.
Nice.
There you
That's
go.
yeah.
That's crazy. I can't I'm a type of person that will pay to have somebody fix my car because I have no idea anything about it. So, to hear everybody's just way more badass than I am at anything.
Hey, I pay
It's
to
just-
have people fix my
Jeez.
car because I'm fucking lazy, so I don't want
At
to
least
do
you know
it.
what they're doing though. They could be robbing the shit out of me. I'd be like, "Yep, okay, sounds
Yeah.
Go ahead and
It's
fix
so
it.
funny because like my brakes on my bike are like absolutely pristine, and then my car they'll be like squealing, and everybody's like, "Oh, women drivers."
That's funny. I tell you what, man. If I could, I would. I know there's betting on racing, but I'm big into sports betting right now, and I'd bet on you if I could. But I guess
Oh,
I
that's
don't, I don't see it on there. Not yet.
Not
I did.
It needs to be on there because I want to start betting on racing.
Right.
I'm not a better, but I think it'd make it fun.
That's all free bets for me right now that I'm using. But hey, I was betting on everything. I bet on women's Euro League basketball earlier.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. Just random shit. It's funny.
Just like, oh, I like
fun as
her
hell.
name. That's cool.
Basically. There was a soccer team called Bologna. I'm like, absolutely, they're gonna win. Put money on them.
Ooh,
I feel like you just
Svetlana,
scroll
I
all
like
the way.
that.
You just scroll all the way to the
All the
bottom
way
and
down to
just
the
bet on
bottom.
that.
I look for the
Pick
cool
'em.
shit. Yeah, it's fun shit. And they
I
usually
like your
hit.
name. I'll bet on you.
Yeah.
Oh, win $6. All right, cool.
Just win's a win. You ain't first or last,
Right, win's a
right?
win. If you ain't first, you're last. I was curious, how fast do those 300s go?
So the 300s go, I think I top out around 110, which sounds super lame, but what's cool about it is you're like literally trying to go 110 like the entire time you're on the track. So
On the turns
that's
and
what's really
everything.
fun about the little bikes is you go really slow in the straight parts, but you're faster than everybody else in the corner. It's just a lot easier to maneuver yourself.
Maneuver.
So it's at first it was really humbling for me when I started on a 300 because I was used to riding a 750 on the track, which is I guess a lot of people don't realize how fast the 750 is because oh, my buddy rides a 1000 on the street, but it's not really the same on the track because you're like milking it for every horsepower.
Yeah.
So I came from that, and then when I bought the 300 and finally started riding it at the track, it was extremely humbling because I was just getting smoked by people. But then as time went on, then it became humbling for everybody else because they're like, "Dang, this chick on a 300 is passing me in the corner."
There you go.
So
Nice.
What's your
That's cool.
average? Is it like the 110 is like your like main, or is it like in betweens?
I wish. I'd say so I can pull up we have like GPS data recorders, data loggers, and you can pull up all your like all your statistics and stuff when you're done riding. It just depends on the track. I mean, a lot of times it'll show like your slowest speed and your fastest speed. I mean, most tracks, I think my slowest speed is usually around like 45 miles per hour on some of the slower tracks. That's the slowest you go in like the tightest corners, but it all depends on the track. Some are really big and open and fast, and others are a lot more technical and tight turns. So
Damn. I can imagine.
Motorcycles are cool. So, because I was trying to compare, because like I don't ride street bikes. I think I've ridden a sport bikes, crotch rocket. I've only ridden one maybe once, and that was I don't know 15 years ago. Because I ride Harley Davidsons, and like mine's 1684 cc's, and that thing, the fastest I've had it was about 100, and that's scary.
I'll say,
And
yeah.
fucking. I can imagine speed
That
wobbles.
Especially like
That-
during
fuck
you're
yeah.
like you're,
Well,
you're like in
that's on
traffic,
a
though.
road.
Yeah,
That's
you're
on
not on a
that's on
racetrack.
that was on a country road. And I hit it to 100, and the bike didn't want to do it. It didn't like it. It wasn't having a good time.
Yeah, so these
But like
bikes, we
those,
pretty much
but then
like,
you have a bike that's a 300 or 299 cc's that'll go 110 like it's nothing.
On a turn.
yeah, well, we do beat the crap out of the little bikes. That's the problem with the little bikes is you ride them for like a season or two, and then you kind of have to rebuild the motor because you've pretty much torn it up. Because you're just beating the crap out of it all the time. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you though. There is like a certain point where I'm going. I think I was just talking to my teammates about this not too long ago, but when I hit about 120, 130, I get like my whole brain just turns off. Like I'm like, why am I going so fast? This is insane.
Do
And
you look at your speedometer? Do you look at your speedometer when you're riding?
No, not
She says,
not
"Fuck it."
really. It's pretty rare that I do.
You can probably,
sometimes I
like-
use it as like a gauge, like when I'm coming out onto a straightaway, like just to see where I'm at, like if what I did in the corner, that last corner,
I
like
feel like-
worked or not. Because I'm like, ooh,
I feel
let's
like
go
if I'm going
93
that fast,
last
I'm not
time,
gonna
now
look
going
down.
95. Yeah, I don't
I feel like if
look
I'm going that
down
fast,
the
I'm
whole
not.
time.
I'm not looking down. I'm trying to not die.
You can probably
Yeah,
kind of feel it though too, right? Like if you're driving like a stick shift, like you can kind of feel like your like speed. You know what I mean? Like when you shift and all that, like you know how fast about you're going.
yeah. I mean, and you can feel like where you are in like kind of your RPM range too.
Yeah.
The more you ride. Yeah, I don't know. I think once you hit a certain point, like I said, for me, it's probably about 130. Everything gets really like frantic, and you're like, holy crap! Like it's really hard to focus. You know, your helmet's like plastered on your head, and you know, if you even like go like this, it's like whoosh. So
Damn.
yeah, but I mean, you do get kind of speed blind too. Like I like on the R3 when I'm going 110, I'm just sitting there like, come on, go faster. You know, you're like, why won't this thing go faster? So you do get kind of numb to it after a
Jeez.
while.
Then like when you're actually driving like like on the highway, you get pissed off. You're like, this is
Go
fucking
faster.
snail fest, yeah.
Yeah, exactly like that, actually.
Well, in California, you can like weave in and out of people if you're on a motorcycle.
See, and I
Oh.
know dudes that like aren't even phased. They'll go, you know, well over 130, and they don't really think about it. I think I think about it a little more, and I think, like I said, I think that's kind of like the difference between men and women riding is we're like, I start reevaluating my whole life up until that point. I'm like, what decision led me here to do this right now?
I've had a couple of those.
Well, that's why women live longer than men do.
Very true.
Probably.
We don't think about stuff.
Right.
We're doers.
No, you all see your buddy up ahead of you, and you're like, oh, I can catch him.
Right.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this. So I know there's like a I don't know if it's motorcycles or it's just a certain type of like speed club, but like 270. I mean, you're from Central Ohio as well, so obviously 270 around. There's like a 270 club. I think you have to make it around the entire loop in under an hour. Or the hour? Or 30 minutes.
That's
It's
so
only
funny.
50. It's like 54 miles. It's like 50 some miles around.
Oh, it was?
You could do that in an
It
hour.
was something great. Easy. It was half hour. It was something crazy where like you had to like obviously blow ass all the
Go
way around
fast,
it to
yeah.
fucking hit it. But
God, the guys I rode with when I first started riding always talked about, we've got 275 down in Cincinnati, and they always talked about like the 275 death race where they would just get on the highway and go as fast as they could the entire time. So I don't
like
think I know there's some videos of them getting chased by the cops and everything else, but I don't think they ever actually did the race.
yeah. Oh, I'm still getting chased by cops, so like some cops would be like, nah, I'm not even fucking with it. It's too fast. Not worth
Well,
it.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
like
don't-
if you get clocked going over a certain mile, like 120 or something like that, they can't pursue you.
I don't
I've
honestly
always
know
heard
what
that.
the laws
I don't know if that
are.
I don't know if that was actually a thing. I heard that once.
Good ask Connor that.
We've had a couple riders in
Yeah,
the Cincinnati area test that and end up in jail. So I don't know what the limit is, but
So you haven't
Didn't
personally
work.
done that.
no,
She
not
abides the law.
exactly. I am a public servant, and I would never do anything such as speed or do anything
answer.
irresponsible. No reckless
Right?
driving, of course not. But when I was younger, I was a lot more aggressive with my street riding. But I don't know, once you start riding on the racetrack, riding on the street kind of isn't
Completely
the
different.
same
Yeah.
anymore. It's just
It's probably boring. You probably don't even ride your bike, do you? Besides racing?
I rode my street bike twice this year.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And it was like it was like a special occasion. Somebody had to like drag me out, and my bike. I was like, okay, dude, I'm ready. Like, I think I got everything together. I went to start the bike that morning, and it wouldn't start. So.
Oh.
Been there.
So do you at the firehouse they let you drive the fire truck then, since you're obviously the racer to get there fastest?
You know what? I don't like driving, man. So it's funny, when I first
Let's go.
started, I thought driving would be
110.
super awesome. And I remember going up to the guy who drove at my firehouse, and I was like, hey, dude, what are you going to teach me about driving today? And he was like, get in. I was like, I don't know how to do this. And he was like, you're going to learn today. So he put me in the front seat, and that was the first time I drove a fire truck. And yeah, I don't like it. It's too much responsibility. I felt like I was just going to like everybody's trying to hit me, and I don't know. I get stressed out. We got to ride an ambulance every couple tours. And so I end up driving that occasionally. And I hate it, man. People don't get out of your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you can turn around here, no problem. Just back down this narrow, dangerous alley and try not to hit that pole and that tree and that child. You know, and you're like, what?
So I for work I do fire inspection for fire alarms and sprinkler systems. So there's been multiple times I've had the trucks come and roll out on me because I forgot to put in tests or something like that. So I've went to some really cool firemen and some ones that are pretty like assholes because I which I get it. I called them out here for a false alarm, but man, I could imagine driving that truck because they put them in some tight spots too. I was pretty surprised on how they got them in and out.
Yeah, we have some phenomenal drivers that I trust way too much. You know, there's times when we're actually headed to a fire, it's like a pride thing. Like we get there as fast as we can. And there are times where I'm in the back seat and I just don't look out the window. It's just terrifying.
I don't know how much you can actually talk about it, but what's some craziest things you've seen just by firefighting?
Oh man. That's a really hard question because we see a lot of crazy stuff and then all of a sudden something
else is crazier.
Crazy anymore.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
So probably I guess 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
And then I got on, it was kind of my dream job to work for the city. I worked for a suburb of Cincinnati for a little while. And then got the job with the city. So that was really awesome. That was a major highlight of my life. But oh shoot, I already forgot the question. What was the question?
Just like anything crazy stories you had for a firefighter?
Oh gosh. Here's one of my favorites. My friend wanted to vote and she was like, hey, Natasha, can you come in for an hour? I want to vote today, but I got to work because we work 24 hours. So she obviously couldn't like just leave and go vote or do it after work. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll come in and work for you for an hour. All it was 1 hour. And in that 1 hour, I had like one of the best runs of my life, which was a lady in labor about to deliver a baby. We took her in and I'm like panicking. I'm like, I don't want to deliver a baby. Like, come on. And I was like sitting there thinking like, I'm going to kill this girl. Like she told me just come in for 1 hour and I got to deliver a baby. I mean, the person we took, you know, they're screaming bloody murder, you know, pushing, grunting. I'm like, stop pushing. And, you know, we took her up to the OB ward when we got her to the hospital. And the doctor gets an ultrasound machine out and puts it on her belly. And she's like, there's no fetus. You're not pregnant. And this girl, so she had faked being in labor and she just sits up and she's like, what do you mean I ain't pregnant? So that was one of my favorites.
That's crazy.
Fake being in labor.
That's awesome.
You know what?
Did you laugh?
Oh, I laughed my ass off.
She had, like,
what in the world?
That's insane because now you're paying for a fucking
ambulance
ride, all for nothing.
Like, yeah, all right, we'll send you a bill. See ya.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But the best runs we make are for sure for the fires. I mean, those are the most fun. That's what we train to do, so that's what we enjoy the most, and that's kind of when, you know, we don't get them super often. So when we do, it's pretty intense, pretty fun. I mean, of course, it's not fun when somebody's house is burning down. Like, I obviously feel terrible for them, but it's like
it's a bittersweet.
I get to do something.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's like, see this fire? I'm gonna fucking put you out.
Yep.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah, it's definitely where we shine.
Have you ever been called to like anybody famous?
Ooh,
like, because Cincinnati's got several sports teams.
Oh yeah, I had Nick like the Lachey's live down there.
I don't honestly. I don't think anybody famous. Obviously, if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to talk about them by name or anything, but I honestly don't think I've made anybody famous.
Have we? Met a couple. You met
Have
anybody
we?
famous? I've never met anybody famous besides the guys we've had on here.
Like Natasha?
Top,
Oh
that's
yeah,
about
right.
enough.
I thought you guys were gonna make me famous. Isn't that the whole point?
Hey,
We're working on it.
Whoa. Actually, we're wondering if you could put it.
We could. Yeah. Do you have are you allowed to have a C Average podcast sticker on your bike?
It wouldn't last.
Is that considered?
I
Is
could
that
do
considered a
that.
sponsor?
I could do that. Yes.
The
Just send me a
stickers.
sticker.
We should.
Do we have any?
Unfortunately, I have
I think
plenty
I
of
have
room
some.
on the bike. I do try
No.
to. I
You
am.
can be the first one.
Nice.
I am kind of particular too. Like, I won't just put anybody's sticker on there, like, because then it kind of takes away like the whole thing. Like, hey, if you sponsor me, I'll throw your sticker on there.
Right.
So unfortunately, I have a lot of room on my bike.
Oh, not gonna lie.
But
our
there is
stickers-
a
The
spot
stickers we
for
have
C
are kind of
Average.
big. They're like they're 4x6s, I think, ovals. I meant to
We
get
need to get the
smaller
new
ones,
ones.
but I haven't got smaller ones yet.
I'll say ours will probably fly off though, but you hit 110, the stickers might not be staying on anyways.
Put it like inside of your knee, like where your knee rests, so it like keeps it on.
Oh, so nobody can see it?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Just go full Ricky Bobby, stick it right on the fucking
Helmet. Put on
windshield.
the helmet.
I do love
Yeah,
fake news.
right here
I
on
do.
the helmet.
I can't see where
I
shit,
do
but I
love-
do love fake news.
I do love things.
Oh, that's funny.
So how many bikes do you have?
I've got 4. I've got a street bike, which is a Yamaha FZ09. I've got a Yamaha R3, which is the 300 I raced most of last year. I've got a Gixxer 750. That's going to be the endurance bike next year. And that was my first like dedicated track bike. And last year I acquired a free bike,
Nice.
which is hilarious because it's a 1995 Suzuki Katana, which is about the most like bitchin' bike from the 90s. Like, it's super tacky
Nice.
and awesome looking.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a project bike. I'm trying to get that together so I can do vintage racing at some point. But right now I have so many
That's cool.
projects going on. I'm trying to keep all my other bikes running. So
You did flat track too, right? Was it this past year?
oh God, yeah. So I tried flat track
How was that?
racing. Oh my God.
And what is flat track racing for everybody?
It's a
Okay,
flat
so
oval.
flat track racing is when it's basically like a dirt bike with no front brakes, which already just completely ruins the experience for me because that's all that's all we use on the track for the most part.
Mhm.
If you use your rear brake, that means you went off in the grass and you're having a really bad day.
Really?
So no front brakes on the bike, and you are basically on like a dirt oval track on a dirt bike going in circles and just sliding around in circles for like the whole time. And yeah, it was super crazy. I'm really glad I got the opportunity to do it, but it was absolutely terrifying. Like, I don't know, man, it's crazy. Like, everybody thinks I'm nuts, but then I go and do flat track racing. I'm like, dude, I'm like gonna break my femur, like if I fall off this thing.
Yeah. Ran over too.
And you're sliding like the whole time, which is super fun, but it took me a minute. And then it was crazy because I didn't even really get to like practice. I had no idea what I was doing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you get a couple practice sessions before you go out." They like call our class. I go out. I do like 4 laps, and then they tell us to come in, and they're like, "Okay, cool, first practice." I was like, "What? I've done 4 laps. I don't know what I'm doing."
Nice.
They're like, "Oh no, it's cool. You're good. Just okay,
You'll
go
be
out
all
there and
right."
race." I'm like,
fine.
"Okay." I've done 4 laps and now I'm
Right.
racing. Awesome. So yeah, that'll definitely need some work. I got my pictures back from that and I was like embarrassed. I was like, I can't post these. But I guess a lot of racers do flat track riding as kind of like an off-season training thing, because it gets you kind of used to the limits of traction. So I thought it was a good idea. Mostly just embarrassing, but
An
yeah,
experience.
definitely
Yeah.
did not win that race.
One more thing to add to your resume.
Yeah, it was something different and fun.
Where have you only raced in the States, or do you actually go out of the state and race too?
Oh, definitely only in the States. I don't know how people get their bikes overseas, but it seems really
Yeah,
expensive.
Yeah. I guess that's
It'd be
perfect.
super cool
Take
to
a long
like,
time.
too.
Yeah.
it'd be
To put
super
that
cool
on
to
a
like race
ship.
in Europe or something, but
I mean, people lose their fucking luggage at the goddamn airport.
Imagine my bike didn't
Like,
show up.
imagine, like,
Yeah.
can you imagine like
Get
going
there.
for a race and your fucking bike
Well.
doesn't show up?
right.
I'm
Yeah, I don't
here.
know. I think they fly them over there or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's way beyond my current level, but it would be kind of like a bucket list thing to go race at some of the famous tracks over in Europe.
Oh yeah.
That would be cool.
It'd be cool to see isn't one in Spain like a really big. This is like one of Formula or F1 things I've seen. I'd love to go there and see just watch it's a bucket list item too to go watch some overseas racing.
I'm going in March to Portugal. There's a track over there, and they have a
Maybe that's what it is.
MotoGP race. So I'll well, there's tracks in Spain too. There's actually a couple, but yeah, they're doing it's the season opener for MotoGP, which if you're not familiar with it, it's basically the best of the best in the world.
Nice.
Probably the only racers who probably make like a livable salary, but that's where they bring the best technology and everything else. And it's kind of like Formula One. It's really popular over in Europe.
Yeah.
So it'll be super fun to go over there.
Nice. That'd be cool.
So you do like so like you like death defying like motorcycle racing, and then you do like death defying going in for firefighter like fires. And then, so how does violin fit into all of this?
Oh God.
Which is
I
like the
think-
complete opposite. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's why. So for anybody who doesn't know, like I spent my whole life playing, actually it was viola, but I actually tell people violin because nobody even knows what a viola
Nobody knows
is,
what
and
it
it's
is.
close enough. So I actually spent my whole life playing viola, and that's what I wanted to do with my life. I was ready for a career making music. I went to the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, got a master's degree, and it made me like completely miserable. And it wasn't fun, it was just super competitive. People were nasty to each other all the time. And, you're spending so much of your life like isolated practicing your instrument. They expected us to practice 4 to 6 hours a day when I was at the conservatory. Like, think about that. That's like a quarter of your life that you're locked alone in a room practicing your instrument. So yeah, it just kind of made me miserable after a while. And I think I kind of started like lashing out and just wanted to do anything other than that. I kind of realized how much I'd like missed out on, because I was busy. Right.
Get on a
Because I was
motorcycle and go
busy
fast.
practicing, so.
This
Well-
shit's too slow for me.
I think
This is too slow for me.
I went out to Colorado. I lived in Aspen, Colorado for 2 summers when I was in college. Actually went out there to play music, but it had like this opposite effect where I went out there and was like, man, I would like hanging out with all these cool people who want to like rock climb and hike and whitewater raft and do all these rad things. So I started doing that, and I was like, man, I remember when I used to do this stuff when I was a kid. I used to like go outdoors and have fun, and I never do any of that anymore. So I started doing more and more of that and just getting like super distant from the music thing. And I think that's part of why I bought a motorcycle. I just wanted to kind of get out there and start having fun again.
Yeah.
And then I took it kind of far. I made it pretty extreme, but
Yeah.
Took it about 110.
I mean, you're
hi,
just
Dad.
right? I mean, you're just like a lot of us that, get a degree and then not even use a damn thing about it. Like, not even use it at all.
Yeah, I'm in
that's
the
me.
roofing business, and I went to school for websites.
Yeah, I went to school for music, and now I fight fire. That makes a whole lot of sense.
It's all experience, is what I've come
Right.
to learn.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to get into something that I was actually like helping people, and I don't know, something a little more, I guess, something that had more of an impact. So it was definitely a good move, and I've I mean, I've never been happier. My job is awesome. I love it, even though it drives me insane and I'm really sleep deprived all the time. It's super awesome.
Yeah.
Work for a really great firehouse too, so that makes it even better.
What's your schedule? Is it like 24 on, 24 off, or has it normally go for you guys?
24, 48. So we work
48,
24, we're off 48, and then we have like a gimme day. It's called a Kelly day, but whenever my shift falls on a Wednesday, I don't have to come into work. So that gives us like 5 days off every 3 weeks.
So how you schedule
So
your
we get a
races?
lot of off time, but we're also, I mean, for me, like when I get home from work, I spend the entire next morning sleeping. The next day is a wash. So
Yeah. Like I said, is that how you just schedule your races in?
oh man, it's hard. So if my Kelly day were on a weekend, it'd be really nice for racing, but you got to get a lot of seniority before they let you do that. So yeah, we're allowed to do trades with people. So I work for you, you work for me, and it's like a gentleman's agreement kind of deal. So
Gotcha.
last year I worked like all winter. Anytime anybody asked, I was like, yeah, I'll work for you. I'll work for you. And then I was like, oh, but you're gonna have to pay me back in the summer when nobody wants to work.
Right.
But yeah, I worked my butt off the whole winter. And then when summer came around, I was like, pay up, bitches.
Whole month
But
of
they're
July.
cool. We get a lot of vacation time, so that's helpful.
What do your parents think of you racing? Are they worried, scared, like
Oh man, so my
stop
dad
doing it? Like I guess you're already
Or being a
firefighting, so
firefighter. I mean,
yeah, that's
right.
That's
Like,
how do your
you're a
parents feel about
firefighter.
your life
Fuck it.
choices?
So it's funny because when my parents were in denial for a long time about the firefighting thing. Like I started off as an EMT because that was kind of my like ticket in the door. We do fire and medical, obviously.
I think you have to,
So
don't you?
my
that's
parents like went
A lot
everything's
of them do
shifted to
now.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
in
it
this
has.
part of the country, the fire department does medical. Some other parts of the country it's separate, but ours is together. So yeah, my parents were like in denial. Like I went to fire school, and I think they were like still not quite accepting it in their brains because they were like, "Wait, so you just have to do that to do like the paramedic stuff, right? Like you're not actually going into like burning buildings or anything, or like they just make you get certified in this, but you don't actually." I'm like, no, like I'm a firefighter. Like
Yeah.
we fight fire. But now, I mean, they're awesome. They're really supportive.
Saving
They're super
lives.
proud of me. They know what a journey it's been. So they're definitely really proud of me for that. And as for the racing, my dad has been one of my biggest fans for sure. So that's super awesome. He was, I mean, of course, when I like told them I bought a motorcycle, they were like super pissed. But then I was like, Dad,
that
you
was
should
one.
come
Now you got four.
Right. I was like, Dad, you should come to the racetrack with me. And he agreed. And the first time he went to the racetrack, it was actually hilarious because, man, I like suited up. I'm sitting on my bike. My dad is so nervous, you know. He's already seen like the first couple groups go out, and he's like, man, he's like patting me on the back, like, Tosh, just, you know, be safe. Please be safe. And I come in, and by the end of the day, my dad is sitting there like, all right, I think you can pick up a little time on this corner. You know, I see the other guys are turning in a little bit later than you.
Nice.
And then he's like smacking me on the back, like, go get him. Yeah. And he's like high-fiving me, you know, when I get my lap time goals. So he got really excited about it. But then he was at one race, and or actually it wasn't a race, it was just a normal track day, and I crashed, and that he wasn't super happy about that.
You're never doing this again.
Jeez, I could imagine.
Yeah, I remember telling them, like, when they come rolling up in the ambulance, I was like, oh no, you can't take me back to the pits in an ambulance. My dad's gonna he's gonna be pissed. Like, you can't take me back in an ambulance.
I'll walk it off.
But no, he loves coming and watching me race. I think he's coming down in a couple weeks to Florida with me, which is super cool. not a lot of people get the opportunity to have their dad come watch them, but he's really into it. He loves it. He's into like NASCAR, just any kind of like speed or fast cars. So it's really hard to come watch people ride at the track and not get like super excited about it. It's so loud. I mean, it's so fast. So it definitely ropes you in a little bit.
That's awesome.
Are you allowed to like listen to music when you're racing, or is that like
no music? A lot of people wear earplugs, just because just kind of drown out, take care of your ears and focus a little better. I don't wear earplugs. I probably should. But yeah, no, definitely no music. I listen to music sometimes before I go out to get like amped about racing.
What's the music? What's your pump up?
Oh man, so I grew up listening to metal, but I'm not gonna lie, I listen to like EDM before I go out because it gets me like
Get you pumped?
It gets me like pumped up, and it's like the music of fast people. I don't know. You hear it and you're like, okay, let's do this.
Because they're doing coke and
yeah, like
Molly.
Yeah, it definitely gets me amped up, but I don't know. Sometimes though, like I gotta listen to chill stuff before I go out. I usually don't listen to stuff like if I've got a race coming up, I try to kind of keep it mellow. But if I'm just like doing a practice day, I'm gonna listen to some like feel good, get me amped music.
Nice.
Do you anything you want to plug?
You don't have to. Or gonna send it. It's up to you.
Or is there anything you want to say?
I'll say I can.
Well, one, thank you guys for having me. It was super fun, super awesome. Definitely, if you can, give my Instagram page a follow. I'm not great with the whole social media thing. This is like kind of new to me. But it's really helpful for putting yourself out there. And I try to do the best I can with not being like fake. It's everything I do is pretty genuine. I don't do a million takes and then re-record it until I look cool doing it. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, I really screwed that up today, So I try to be as genuine as possible.
Trust me, if you've seen any of our episodes, we're right there with you. Like, ain't a lot of editing. Sometimes it's like, fuck it, we'll leave it in and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's kind of my shtick, I'm not one of those people who ever like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show some skin or like, pose, backwards with my motorcycle. Like I don't know, that's just not for
me. In a
me.
bikini.
Right, just trying to ride.
Dude, I'm 34. Like maybe when I was like in my 20s, I don't know. I'm sure it would help, but it's not for me. And there's a lot of people that do that, and that's cool. I'm glad they like it, especially women. I'm happy that they're confident, but for me, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't get you like respect when you go out on the track. So I don't really care for that. For me anyway. But I'm trying this thing. I'm not gonna like dog on anybody who does it. Good for you. Go sister.
Go team.
Yeah, so my thing is I just try to just show what I do and be really open and honest about everything. I screw up a lot of things. Those all get put on there just like everything else. So I've had a lot of people reach out to me like, hey, your videos are super cool, like especially women who are like, I really want to start working on my own bike. I don't know where to start. So that's cool that people reach out and enjoy the content. But it's First Do Racing at Instagram.com. Or .com. That sounded really awkward. First Do Racing. There we go.
There we go. Got it.
And Do is DUE, which is actually like a shout out to the fire service. The first company on scene of a fire is the First Do company. And we all want to be First Do because it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, First Do Racing is my Instagram handle.
Yeah, I'll put that
on. I don't know why.
Instagram.com. That's how we are.
Yeah, like I said, I'll for one, definitely appreciate you coming on, and I'll make sure I'll put all your all your Instagram stuff and Facebook, whatever else you want to put on here, and let us everybody know, and we'll get you some stickers so where you can put on the back of your helmet so the guy in second can see
everywhere. We just cover your whole bike everywhere.
Right. You're probably gonna fly off, not gonna lie. So You might need a couple of them.
Hey,
No,
they're
you'd be
decent
surprised. I
stickers. All
spent
right,
like
come on.
an hour with a scraper when I'm like trying to do my body work because it takes like an hour to get every sticker off. It's horrible. So I don't know. Stickers are like, I think the speed just sticks them on more,
Sticks
and
them
then
on
you
more.
can't get them off.
Probably, yeah.
Like I said, that's why you put on the back of your helmet. So guy in second and third, they can see, and they maybe like, oh, we should probably listen to that. But we wish you obviously all the best of luck.
Thank you so
definitely
much.
check back in because we want to know how you did, and if I can start betting on you, I'm gonna start betting.
Yeah, we'll
on
have you back on. We'll come back on for another episode later on in the season.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I'd be down.
All right then.
Yeah, give you an update. It might be from like a hospital room, I got like
No,
cast on my
no,
leg.
wish
Like, it
that.
didn't
No,
go well,
no.
guys.
No way. Hope your bike's not laying down this time either. That's why we're gonna have
Well, I tell
all
you
your stickers
what,
gonna be
I'm going
nice.
from the 300 to starting to race the 750, so it's gonna be super sketchy. I've crashed the hell out of that thing.
Everything you do is sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think you're doing
It's
fine.
so funny. I bring both bikes.
The
to
viola is the only
racetrack.
thing.
I
It's a
knit.
viola.
Okay, I have cats and I also knit. So not everything.
You're just like we're one to extreme to the other. I swear. That's exactly what you are. Hey, you want to go skydiving? Then we go,
As she's sitting
grab
there
some
knitting
coffee.
with the
Yeah,
cats around
right.
her.
You ready to go?
My cats love my knitting, and my fiance is actually a skydiver, so that's what he does.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
Yeah, I've done it once. It was cool. But
I've done it once too.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't
always
for
say-
me. It was cool.
I
though.
loved it. I would do it again if I could. If I was like, because I know you have to live. Because I know the one place I was at was Middletown, Ohio. It was like right.
Yeah,
by the
that's where he always goes.
Is
That's
that-
like his
Yeah.
DZ. He calls it
It's-
drop zone.
Drop
Is he
zone,
is he an instructor or is he just does it all the time?
He actually did get his instructor certification last year, but he's going on, I don't know, he has like 300 jumps, which I guess is not a lot in the skydiving world, but it seems like a
yeah.
lot to me.
right?
Sounds like a lot.
Well, you have to have
I
like
mean, there's 365 days in the year, so
Right,
you're jumping every day but 5.
right. Yeah, that
Well,
seems like
yeah.
a lot to me. But yeah, that's what he's passionate about.
I suggest everybody do it at least once. It's a pretty cool experience. I
Yeah,
think I got on video on my first one. I just remember I put my goggles on like way too early, and the guy knew I was nervous because of that. He's like, everybody who gets nervous, they puts their goggles on as soon as they walk into the plane. Like we have like 15, 20 minutes before we're ready to jump.
He's like in the
I don't
car
know.
with his goggles
Yeah,
on,
I'm like,
driving
I'm
driving
gonna
to
do it.
Middletown, like,
I'm gonna do it.
ready.
That's what I said. I'm like, I'm gonna get up there. I'm not gonna because I'm gonna go all the way up there, get in the plane, and then check it out. I'm gonna like if I have to get pushed out, then push me out. But
I
like I
went
said,
with my dad,
Did you?
my
Oh, my
awesome,
sister.
super awesome dad. He's actually probably the reason I'm so crazy. Yeah, he went off the plane first, so I didn't have a choice. Like I wasn't
Right.
like, oh yeah, if my dad goes, like
right? I'm
I
gonna ride the
obviously
plane
gotta
back.
go. Oh, and it was Mother's Day too. So if my dad, yeah, I had to go.
Nice. Oh, that's funny. See, like I said, just all around badass chick. I appreciate you coming on here. Like I said, good luck with everything. Let us know how you end up. We'll keep you posted as well. As for us, C Average Podcast. I'm Chris Webb, Tyler Thomas. Mikey Shy's not here, but Kevin
Mike's not
Sire
here.
is.
You guys are
I
too
made it this
kind.
time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thanks for
The-
coming.
The badass Natasha Simmons. You're out.
You guys are
Love you guys.
you guys are too nice.